Good morning, friends. Welcome back to She's At It Again. Today we're going to be making some spinach muffins. This is the first time I've ever made this recipe, but I'm going to send some of these to my neighbor. I think she'll be excited about it. So we're going to do some prep work at first, then we're going to make our muffins. These are bright green, so my first thought is, hey, fall's coming up, and decorate these things with something. Make them look like Oscar the Grouch or something. They are really bright green, so you're going to need some fresh spinach. I don't know if you can use frozen spinach or not. I haven't really researched the recipe enough, but they use fresh spinach. So we're going to go with fresh spinach. We need to grease our muffin pans, and we're going to grind some quick oats into oat flour. So I'll show you how to do that with the high-speed blender. So let's get busy making some spinach muffins. The first thing you want to do anytime you're making muffins, cakes, anything like that, any baked goods, you want to be sure and prep your pans. You don't want to have all your batter ready and then at the last minute think, oh, I need to grease my pans, and heaven forbid not have something like coconut oil. Now it looks like I have no coconut oil in this, but actually this is the last of my container. I ordered more, so don't panic. I had a little bit left in here that was kind of stuck along the edge, so I put it out in the sunroom for a few days, and it has melted enough to where it's gone to the bottom. So we're going to take our pastry brush, just kind of hit the inside of these. Like I said, I've never made spinach muffins before. This is a new recipe for me. But I do know from past experience that anytime I use almond flour, which is what this calls for, it calls for oat flour as well, but it calls for almond flour, they have a tendency to sort of stick to the sides, and I do not like using paper liners. I'm just not a fan of paper liners, even though they make them pretty and they make them with patterns, and it just looks so appealing and fancy when you use the paper liners. I just don't like them, and the number one reason is my cupcake sticks to the liner. I want to eat that cupcake. I don't want it stuck to the liner. I want it to come out as clean as possible from the muffin tins as I possibly can get it. So we've coated this well. We'll set this aside, and the next thing we're going to do is get out our high-speed mixer. This is what my Vitamix looks like from the front. You hardly ever see it from the front. You see it from the back. So I just wanted to show that to you. We are going to need 1 cup of oat flour. You can use old-fashioned oats, or you can use quick oats. I would not recommend using steel-cut oats because they are a lot higher in fiber and they bulk up a lot more. But this takes equal amounts. So if you need 1 cup of oat flour, it takes 1 cup of quick oats or old-fashioned oats. So I'll put my scoop in, shake it off. And this is my, I can't remember actually the term they use. It's basically for dry items. So this is not the Vitamix container you normally see me use in other recipes. It's a little bit taller, but this one is for dry items like making peanut butter out of peanuts, or making rice flour out of rice, or just anything that's dry and it needs to be ground up. Breadcrumbs, things like that, anything that doesn't need to be wet. There's some kind of different blade to it, I guess. I don't know. It comes with a long tamper that goes with this as well. But I don't think I'll need it for this oat flour. So we're going to blend this up until it's smooth. Now, I'm not sure if you can just use a regular blender and it'd have the same effect, but it's worth giving it a try. If not, you can always buy oat flour at the market. And this does come to 1 cup of oat flour. So we'll set that aside and put our mixer up. All right, here we go with our first step. Let me get a spatula. We're going to start adding our dry ingredients to a bowl. Now, the wet ingredients we're going to put, again, in the high-speed blender with the liquid container. So that's, and a minute ago I just said we'll put our mixer up. That's not a mixer, it's a blender. I say the most wackadoodle stuff, but it doesn't help that I've got these allergies going on this morning and I'm sneezing like crazy, so I'm trying to sneeze in between turning the camera on. I'm pretty sure you didn't tune in to watch me sneeze. Okay, I'm going to start out with a cup of almond flour, and this is the almond flour I use. And I try to get the kind that has the non-GMO symbol on it, because almonds are one of those things that if it doesn't say non-GMO, that it most likely is, from what I understand. And I'm no expert, I'm no almond grower. I'm just going by what I'm reading. So a cup of almond flour. This is our cup of oat flour we just blended up in our high-speed blender. We need 1/4 of a cup of flaxseed meal. Now, I don't normally buy this. I just bought this for these muffins because I have a feeling we're going to like them. So this is the kind of flaxseed meal. Sorry for the glare. Ground flaxseed meal. These are not that expensive. I was kind of expecting to need to go to a supermarket that just sold in bulk so I could get a little bit of it, but the price really wasn't that bad. 1/4 of a cup, and this is 1/8 of a cup, so I'll just do 2 of these scoops. And flaxseed meal also needs to be refrigerated because it has it's high in oil content, and that oil will go rancid if it's not refrigerated promptly. So we want to keep that in the fridge. Once you open it, that is. All right, we need a teaspoon of cinnamon. And this is my bottle of cinnamon. I buy that at my bulk store, either natural food store or Good Measure Market. Both of them are kind of the highlight of my day to go in. I love walking in. It smells good. Everybody in there is nice. They're knowledgeable. I love it. The next thing we need is a teaspoon of baking powder. I'm trying not to get cinnamon in my baking powder. There we go. We'll need 1/4 of a teaspoon of salt. This is just pink Himalayan salt. It's not this brand or anything. This is just a jar that I keep it in. I buy it in bulk. When I say I buy a lot of salt, it kind of worries me when I know how much salt I use, but then I cook a lot, so I guess that's fair. We're going to need 2 tablespoons of hemp seeds. Now, if you've never seen these, I got these at our local, well, not local, it's an hour away almost. It's at our Trader Joe's store, which that's like going to the carnival for me. Anyway, these came from Trader Joe's. They, again, are not expensive either, and I'm assuming they probably have these at just a big supermarket. Okay, 2 tablespoons of hemp seeds, and 2 tablespoons equals 1/8 of a cup. And so I'm putting that in there. I love using hemp seeds. This isn't the only thing I use hemp seeds for, because I put them in my bowl of oatmeal for breakfast, and they just add a lot of, not really a flavor depth. They do add a little bit of a flavor, but I enjoy the flavor. But it's almost like it just makes it more filling, along with the chia seeds and everything else. So, there's probably little oatmeal in it at the end after I put all my goodies in there. All right, so we're going to stir our dry ingredients together. Now next, I'm going to turn the cameras off. I'll get my Vitamix set up, my high-speed blender, and put the wet blender container on it. And we're going to put our wet ingredients together. So at this point, I am going to preheat my oven to 375. And I'll move that pizza stone off the top rack and put it down in my bottom oven again. And we'll be right back and we'll start getting our wet ingredients together to add to the dry. All right, back with our high-speed blender wet mixer, wet container. See how much taller this is? The other one's only, but well, I'll hold the two up to compare them. So this is the dry one and this is the wet one. And if you don't have a Vitamix and you cook a lot, you might consider, this is an investment. It's not just to run to the store and get one real quick. It's an investment, but we use this so much, it's just quite unbelievable. All right, take the lid off that. Into this, we're gonna add 2 eggs. I always break my eggs into a separate container because inevitably if I break them into this, it's going to get a shell in there, and here I am trying to dig it out. And especially if you have already some of your other ingredients in there, don't add eggs directly to your big bowl of ingredients. Add them to a different container, then pour them in, just for the safety of not getting a shell in there. Why God made the shells and all that together is just a puzzle to me, but just makes you extra careful in what you're doing. All right, so we have 2 eggs in there. We're gonna put, I'm gonna go ahead and put my spinach in there. We need 3 cups of spinach, so 3 cups to me is like 3 handfuls. Oh, my refrigerator door. That's why it has an alarm on it. I knew that beeping sound wasn't a good one. All right, we're just gonna use all this spinach that's in there. Probably going to need my pusher to push this down because that is just a pretty hefty amount in there. All right, so I already have a couple of small bananas in this. This calls for 2 bananas, but you know what? 3 is not going to hurt. I'm pretty sure of that. Even though I've never made this before, I might not even know what I'm talking about. But those bananas were rather small. I normally try to buy smaller bananas just because we eat so many of them. It just seems like the smaller ones are sweeter. I don't know if that's really the truth or not, but they just seem like they are. All right, to that we need to add 1/4 cup of honey. And I'm just going to eyeball this by scooping it out with my spoon. That looks like 1/4 cup to me. And this is not my raw honey, this is just my inexpensive bulk honey, just because the baking's going to render the good qualities of raw honey useless anyway, so may as well just use honey. But don't use a fake honey or a honey-like product that's made with sugar. It just kind of blows all the good stuff. All right, next we're going to need 1/3 cup of milk. And you could probably use almond milk or oat milk or something like that if you wanted to, just an alternative milk if you have a dairy aversion of some kind. And the last thing we need is a teaspoon of vanilla, and this is my vanilla. Look how cool that bottle is. So this is made with organic vodka made with sugar cane, and just good vanilla beans. That's it. You just let it sit there for a long time, and you can see the vanilla beans inside my container. They look like old twigs laying around in there. But this makes the best gift. You could ask my sister that. This makes the best gift you could ever give someone who bakes a lot, because it is phenomenal. All right, so 1 teaspoon of vanilla. I'm going to put my eggs back in the fridge just because I don't like leaving them out. Not because I think they'll go bad, because they're good eggs, but because I'm just as apt as anybody to knock it off in the floor. All right. So all we're going to do now is blend these up to where it's super smooth. We're going to add this to our dry ingredients, spoon them in our muffin tins, and they're ready to go in the oven. Okay, above all that noise, I just heard my oven beep, so it's at the right temperature. Now, if you wanted to, you could probably add blueberries, any kind of fruit, something like that to this, and that would be totally fine. But again, I don't have any idea what I'm talking about because it's the first time I've ever made these. But chances are, the second time I make them, if there's something that needs to be added, it's going in there. Now that is beautiful. Look at that. Isn't that fun? Woo! All right, get your dry ingredients stirred up. Let's add the wet to it. So these aren't necessarily just sweetened with honey. That overripe banana, oh yeah, I do need to stress, make sure it's an overripe banana. Do not put a partially green banana or one that's even firm in there. Zoe, what are you doing? She's making her nest, I guess. Don't put a partially ripe banana in there because it's just not going to be the same. And don't make comments in my feed and say, these didn't taste good, and knowing good and well you put a green banana in there. Just don't even do that. These weren't sweet enough. Nope. Nope. Go back. Use a overripe banana. All right, we're just going to give these a stir. You can't overmix these because there's no gluten in this. It doesn't have any wheat flour in it at all. It's just oat flour and almond flour. Ooh, that is pretty. Man. That is so pretty. All right, let's get these in our muffin tin, and I'm going to take my pastry brush and add a good coating of coconut oil onto our dasher right here. That way the batter won't stick to it as much. All right, here's our muffin tin. This is supposed to make 12 muffins, so we'll see. Looks like an awful lot of batter. And this is the way you make consistently shaped, sized muffins, is to use your scoop with a dasher in it. Comes out cleanly. It's just a much easier way to do it. Okay, it looks like this is going to make more than a dozen, so I'll pull out another muffin tin. I'll use this one, and this one does not even require any oil coating at all. This is a ceramic muffin tin, and it works great. And watch me pull them out, and they just fall apart, and I'll go, never mind. But so far, I've had nothing but good experience with this. All right, let's see if I can get the rest of this out. I'm always pleasantly surprised when something makes more than a dozen muffins, because I do like to share stuff, that's for sure. So that just gives me all the more to share. So while these are baking, protocol is we wash the dishes while these are in the oven. Then when they come out, I've already moved on to my next duty that I need to be doing in the house, which is ironing today because it's Wednesday, and I normally try to iron on Wednesdays. But that way, while these are on the counter cooling, I'll be out in the sunroom ironing. All right. So we have 16 muffins we're going to pop in the oven. And we're going to set our timer for, let's see what the time is, 20 to 25 minutes. So I'll set it for 20. We can always add more time to it, but we can't add less. So we'll be back and check these when they come out. So stay tuned. Okay, I think our muffins are ready. We'll take these out. And I'm telling you, they're so bright green. I took a picture of them, sent it to my daughter who lives in a different country, and she said the Grinch would like those. So they are bright, bright green. Ooh, these look lovely. And they feel like they're done in the center. Okay, guys, I'm going to try to take a good thumbnail shot of these when they cool off. But for right now, I'd call these a success because they smell so good. When you say spinach muffins, the only thing that comes to mind for me is tastes like a quiche. I don't know. That's about the only thing spinach I eat other than fresh salads. But these smell so good. Nobody would ever guess there's spinach in them except for the color. They're so pretty. Oh my goodness, I just can't get over the color. Okay, that was fun. All right, I'll take a thumbnail of these so they'll look good in a picture, but we look forward to sharing something again with you real soon. Thanks for being with us today. Bye, guys.